Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 26 of Europa Universalis IV as France. Things are going quite well. We did manage to win our war with Brittany, with Austria as their ally. Alloy? Not an alloy, they're not metal. With Austria as their ally. We didn't get enough war score to take all of Brittany because I was starting to get beaten down by Austria a little bit, and I did make some bad plays. It was my own fault, I completely admit to that. However, I did manage to take Maine and Anjou, which is fantastic because I had cores on both of them. I also managed to take Luxembourg back from Austria, even though I didn't have a core on that. We've still got cores over here on Cambrai and Artois, so maybe we can go and take them from Austria later on. The best thing was, even though we took little nibbles from them, it meant we didn't end up with a massive coalition against us. Now, we have got aggressive expansion, definitely with Austria. If we have a look there, claimed Italy, what? Oh, they claimed Italy. I claimed Italy? Who claimed Italy? The opinion of France. Why did I claim Italy? But yeah, mainly aggressive expansion, unlawful territory. That will go away, so it's not too bad. Truce between... the truce between our nations is now right. Okay, so that was between us and Portugal, but we should be okay there. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is just rebuild my forces. What's it like in Luxembourg? We are still coring. There is quite a bit of unrest there, so we are going to leave our units there. We're a little bit low on manpower, but we do have some mercenaries knocking around. Of course, those mercenaries are costing money, but we want to wait until until we can build up our own armies, until we get rid of the mercenaries. So that is fine. We are still working on a couple of colonies as well. In fact, for some strange reason, and I need to go and check this because I haven't been keeping my eye on it, which is really, really stupid. We need... Wow, you've taken a lot of damage because I wasn't keeping my eye on him. That's really bad. We need to send our colonist here. What we'll actually do is you can go and dock there if you can get there before the ship completely gets destroyed. Should have just landed there. I don't know why I decided to go and sit over here in the water. What I should have done was landed the ship there, because then the ship would have been safe and we could have just taken one of the units and moved it over there. So again, another derpy moment, but it does happen. So we've got the Luxembourg nationalists. There's still 4.8 years before they pop. A lot of that will go away once we manage to... core the place. Now, one thing that we do need to do is we are trying to vassalize Provence. It is a problem because they are in a couple of wars at the moment, or at least the last time I checked they were. They're only in a war now against Tuscany. They might be okay. They're just being blockaded. I don't think they're going to take anything. Luxembourg is now cored, which is fantastic, which means there is still quite a bit of unrest there, mainly because they have a lot of nationalism and the unlawful territory. We'll keep our armies just sat there, and I think we'll also put that group near just in case anything else pops up. We'll give all these people military access. As far as I'm concerned, if people want to go and start killing each other, that's fine by me, because that helps out quite a lot. Now, do we want to go ahead and invest in this next diplomatic idea, or do we want to go and get the tech? We are behind on tech, and it would give us extra colonial range, so it's probably worth, at this point, getting the tech. We can also get the military tech as well, which would give us barracks, weapons manufacturers, more combat width, more cavalry fire, more infantry shock. Definitely worth getting that, so we're going to take it. Definitely worth getting that, so we're going to take it. Couple of good technology upgrades there. Leaves us short for a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Decent amount of money there. Let's go ahead and build that standard 16 template that we made before. We definitely need to get some more buildings up and running, because we would like to try and get ourselves some more manpower. So we'll definitely be doing that. I'm still running the game at speed 3. I know some of you think that's a little bit slow, but I do tend to miss things, especially if I'm actually talking a lot about what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and disband those mercenaries, because there's only 7k mercenaries there. Castile's broken their alliance with us. That is very, very interesting. To be fair, we don't have an awful lot of good diplomacy with them. Let's go and try and improve the relations and see what we can do. You mainly want my provinces, which is why you really, really dislike me. I can see that we may well end up fighting Castile quite a lot during this game. That wouldn't be too much of a bad thing. I must admit, normally when I play as France, I tend to end up always sort of heading east and fighting my way into the HRE, which isn't always necessarily the best way to do things. And yet we are getting a lot of these pop-ups. It's just because all the units are combining together. So it might make a little bit of a change for me to actually start heading down to the southwest and taking out Castile. I mean, they're certainly not going to be able to form Spain without these provinces. We'll see what happens. So we basically have an option here. We can either spend 381 ducats, which I don't have, or we can lose 50 admin power. Well, I'd prefer not to lose admin power, but at least I do have the admin power to spare. So let's go ahead and do that. Gain 10 prestige or gain 1 base tax in one of our new provinces overseas. We'll definitely want the extra 1 base tax because that will be very, very nice. How are things going over here with Brittany? Are we not improving relations anymore? We're probably maxed on improved relations. Yeah, 97. Broken alliance, that hurt quite a lot. Declared war, they're still a bit bitter about that. Aggressive expansion, yeah, they're not happy about that either. Desire a lot of my provinces, yeah. So these guys are not really our friends right now. We could try and butter them up a little bit. We still have that royal marriage. They don't like... Oh, they're allied to Austria and Austria don't like us. And we're allied to Provence and they don't like Provence. So that's going to cause a little bit of a problem. Although we won't necessarily be always allied to Provence if we can vassalize them. So if we can vassalize Provence, that will instantly be 50 less that they dislike us. Are Provence out of their wars? Yes, they are. Can we offer you vassalization? Yes, we can. And you would accept it as well. Okay, so Provence is now our vassal. Now, that should mean, if we check here... looks like it has. The minus 50 is actually now gone away. They would also now accept an alliance, and I'm going to take that. Try and get as friendly as I can with Brittany, because I don't need to go to war with them anymore. The only reason I went to war is because I couldn't offer them an alliance, because their tax base was so high. They wouldn't... Sorry, vassalization. They wouldn't accept vassalization because their tax base was so high. Because I've taken a couple of provinces away from them now, that's... really reduces their tax base, and they would accept vassalization. However, I do still need to get my relations with them up high enough. Some of this stuff is going to go away over time. Obviously, being at war, aggressive expansion, declared war, broke alliance, that is all going to sort of go away. What I will do, and I know we don't have an awful lot of money, they will transfer trade power as well. So if they're willing to transfer trade power, a lot of people wonder why them giving me something makes them like me more. What you've got to remember is, if somebody's giving you their trade power, you're less likely to declare war on them because they're giving you their trade power. So therefore, it's a case of... they're happy to give you their trade power because it's less likely that you're going to attack them. It makes them feel a little bit safer. I would like to send them subsidies. Can't do that just now. We've maxed improved relations with Castile. Why you got to be like that, bros? Is it just because... yeah, it's just that hostile attitude. Can't do an awful lot about that. We'll just leave it as is and see what happens. We don't have any mercenaries at all now. We are still below our force limit by 13. Lose 10 army tradition. That's really crappy. What is our current army tradition? Because that hurt quite a bit. 65.2. Not amazing. Would be nice to get a little bit more. We can field 2 leaders, which we are currently doing. I think that's mainly because of the... Yeah, that's because of our power projection. That power projection will go down, though, at some point, and then we might have to get rid of someone. And that's going to be a hard choice. Do we get rid of our Conquistador, or do we get rid of our Explorer? So that's going to be an interesting one. Top of that... Don't think there's anything else to do. Just double check, make sure we haven't got any mercenaries there. Natives have risen up. We should be okay there. Yeah, we'll be fine. Do we have any mercenaries? No, we don't, because we've not got any mercenary maintenance. So we could and should build some more units. So let us go ahead and build another one of these standard 16s. That will put us a little bit over, but we can always take a few extra units. We've got quite a few extra cannons here, actually. So what I might do in the case of... Well, we'll see how much we're over. We'll only be over by 2 or 3. So we'll see how much money we're losing, if any at all. Not a lot of point doing anything with Provence right now. Savoy really don't like us. Let's go in and try and improve relations with them. It is, again, possible in the future that we might be able to diplo-vassalize them. It's very unlikely, but we'll give it a go. Gained a colonialism CB against Castile. They have colonies close to us. Take Barocca in North America. What's this you're trying? Can't see where their colony is. Ah, there. That's where it is. I mean, we could do that. We could actually go to war. And we could just move a unit in there and just steal that from underneath them. May happen at some point, but we'll keep going. We'll see what we could do. It would be nice if we could afford to have another couple of colonies on the go, but we can't right now. It'll take a little bit of time before we can do that. We've got a bit of money. We could consider getting a building or two. There's certainly a few things that we could build. Obviously, we're getting all the pop-ups now because units are arriving. What do we want? Do we want manpower increase or do we want tax income? We're not doing too bad on money at the moment. There's only a few provinces where we don't have one of these, so let's go ahead and throw down. Might as well put one there as well. That's basically put us out of money. We could go ahead and build a few in these places over here because, you know, every little bit that we get over here still helps. So that's fine. All three of these are now cored. This is now cored. What I should do, because all of these should be in the same colonial region, I think. Where are we? Regional map mode. Colonial map mode. That doesn't show my colonial regions, does it? Or does it? Nope. I can never find this colonial region map mode when I'm looking for it. Simple terrain. I've never used that either. Wow, that's weird. What have we got? Where are we? Trade company. Colonial regions. There we go. So, yeah, all of these are colonial Canada. So I only need to get one more province in colonial Canada and it will become a colonial nation. And once we do that, they can actually go off and start spreading on their own. And they'll have their own sort of government. So we might need to do that when we can colonize again, is just grab one of these provinces up here. So that's fine. We'll definitely consider going and doing that. Let's unpause and allow things to continue. So, we really want to be working on Brittany. Havana's now become self-sustaining, gain 1 base tax. That gives us a new mission. Annex Provence. We will be doing that. Improve defences in Luxembourg. We definitely want to do that because it'll give us 5 army tradition. So, we need to build a star fort in Luxembourg. Don't think we can afford to do that just yet. Buildings. Earth Rampart. Yeah, it needs 76. We can't afford to do that. Brittany, that's what I was going to do. Their opinion of me is 100. That's not too bad. Obviously, it's still going to take a little while for some of that stuff to burn away completely, but we'll definitely keep our eye on it. Allow our army to continue to mingle. We can have another colony now, of course. So, do we bother doing this one over here with the French colonial region, or do we just try and cock-block Castile down here a little bit? I think that's what I'd prefer to try and do, actually. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this guy, and I'm actually going to assign my conquistador to him, because what that will allow him to do is march into the Terra Incognita. So we're going to go through into the Terra Incognita. You can only create a colony in an adjacent province unless you've got the colonial... Well, I suppose he could technically colonize there, but if we can sort of block him off here... So we could try and nab Guantanamo. Now, which one has the highest tax base? That has a tax base of 4. Or they both have a tax base of 4. All these have a tax base of 4. Let's go ahead and send our colonist here. Would like to try and get Jamaica as well. Like I said, we could start an extra colony, but it does become expensive because if you're over your number of colonists, then you do find that you're paying an awful lot of maintenance, which we could probably afford. I mean, we are still making 22 ducats per month, which is really, really good, even at this stage in the game. So that's certainly something to consider. Bear in mind as well, we're also over our force limit by 3, and we're still making a little bit of extra money. How's things in Luxembourg with the unrest? Nationalism is burning off a little. definitely still some unlawful territory. We are still due a uprising in around about 4 years. It might go away. Could try and boost our stability a little bit more, but at the same time, we are slightly behind on our administrative tech, and it would be nice to get that built up. So I don't think we're going to worry about that at the moment. We're just going to concentrate on trying to get ourselves ahead of everybody else on tech. As far as our advisors go, because you see, we've got a really crappy king. Only has an admin skill of 1 and a military skill of 1. Our heir is a little bit better, but not amazing. Rebel uprising. Yeah, 3.5 years. There's probably not an awful lot worth doing there. We've got units nearby, so if we do get rebels, we can just go and stomp them. It's probably the easiest way to deal with it. As long as they don't pop up when they're in the middle of a war, because that's usually what makes life difficult. If we go into Luxembourg now, we should be able to go into the buildings and build that star fort. And that will give us another +5 army tradition. It's very, very nice when you start getting the little quests like that. Maybe we should cull our army down a little bit so that we can... Oh, our explorer's dead. Maybe what we should do is cull our army down a little bit so that we can get those quests where we have to build our army bigger than somebody else's. It's not too bad that we've lost our explorer, because we've now gone to power projection 24, which means we could probably only field 1 leader without upkeep. And we've kept the conquistador, who has quite decent stats. We don't really need the explorer anymore, because we have discovered the vast majority of the coast, and because it's no longer terra incognita, we can move a ship around in these areas without actually having to have a an admiral in them. But we do want to try and get as much of the mainland America as possible, because it's easy to just walk through those provinces. Let's keep our eye over here. What have we got going on? We're hearing some sound effects and stuff. We can build some buildings. What would be nice to get? We could get a few counting houses around. That would give us some manpower increases as well. We could even get some barracks, but saying that, let's have a look at things like production efficiency. Could we build anything that would give us a significant chunk of cash? Because it's always good if you can. We have temples pretty much everywhere. Courthouses would give us less local unrest. It wouldn't be bad having some of those, but we don't really need them. Marketplace gives us additional trade power. We're not doing too bad on the trade at the moment, but the more trade power we can get, the better it's going to be for us. Let's just spend on a couple. We might as well. The more trade power we can get, the more money we're going to make in the long run, which will all be really good. We are getting a little bit of attrition over here, and we are slightly over our force limit. What I am going to do is I'm just going to take 3 of these cannons away, and I am going to disband them. For a couple of reasons. One, I'm less likely to get attrition in this province. Secondly, it means that I am now not over my force limit, and being over your force limit even by 1 makes a significant difference to the amount of maintenance you pay. And thirdly, it means I'm more likely to get those missions where I have to increase my army size to get some free army tradition, so we'll do that. Cotton will now be produced in Carmagay, which is fine. We can build more improvements. We could go ahead and get ourselves another marketplace, so let's have a look. Where would be good? Pretty much anywhere gives us 2.4, so let's just keep going on our core provinces. We definitely will get some more manpower. What is our current max manpower? Just under 100,000. It is reinforcing. It's quite slowly. It would be quicker if we had more army tradition, but I don't think it's too bad. I think all in all, things there are going quite well. England seems to be doing good. We're 3rd on score, which is nice. Papal State cancelled some military access. That is fine. Are there anywhere else that we need temples? I mean, it would be nice to get some temples built over here. But what you've got to remember is if we do turn this into a colonial nation, then it won't really be our problem. I would never really advise most of the time building the buildings in your overseas provinces, unless it's never going to be a colonial region. Let's have a look. What can we have here? Let's just pause things up. We could lose 33 Diplo. We could lose 25 local autonomy in Armagnac, or we could have 10 noble regiments. Let's take those 10 noble regiments. And yes, I know someone is bound to say that I could have just put my units on top of them and been there ready for when they spawn. But to be quite honest, it's not really going to be a problem. I don't mind that too much at all. I should be able to move my leader over here, so that is fine. You can do that. Let's get you guys down there. We'll go and jump on them. It will be fine. Still potentially got that other rebel uprising, but we'll be able to deal with that when it happens. We can invest in a new idea, which is probably going to be an admin idea. So, would give us minus 10% recruitment time. That would be very nice. But admin, tech, we are still behind, still a little bit behind. Not much. It would be nice to be ahead just to get the production efficiency. Now, we're going to take attrition, so we don't want to stand there for too long. So, we're just going to dive in and wipe that uprising out nice and quickly. There we go, no problem. It wasn't really a rebel uprising, that one. That one was actually a random event. So there was nothing I could really do to stop it from happening anyway. 70% now on this one. 2.1 years. We'll keep all these units close by. It means we will be able to dive in if they do decide to attack, which is fine. There's a lot of Austrian units around. How have Austria managed to recover since their war? So they've got 13,000 manpower, which still isn't an awful lot. They've got 28 mercenary regiments, so they're obviously spending a fair bit of money there. And they've got 36,000 men, which I don't believe... Does that count your mercenaries or not? Can't remember whether or not that number actually counts your mercenary number. But I don't think it does. So I think they've just got a lot of mercenaries trying to make up for things. Another building. What can we build? Well, we know we've got temples everywhere. Tax modifier is good. Armories are good. There we go. 5 army tradition. We've got these pretty much everywhere. What about training fields? Don't really have any training fields. We should probably get some. Just because it would be really nice to have some additional men. Turn Guantanamo into a city, annex Provence or conquer Milan. Again, we can't annex Provence yet because it will take ages. Let's just take these sort of missions. Any missions related to colonies are generally really good because they allow you to get additional base tax and stuff like that. But we are over the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to end the video there. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you are still enjoying Europa Universalis IV as France, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye for now.